Alright, I'm starting to get pixel site set up on the laptop here. I'll fire that up. I already started putting some process icons over here on the side. Let's go ahead and file, open recent image files. I'm going to open up my HA shot of the bubble and drag that a little bigger. Okay, you can find your Process Explorer over here. Drop down your favorites, and here's most of your stuff that you're ever going to use. You can either find it over here or under Process. You can pick through these one at a time once you get used to them, or just hit all processes and it'll show everything. And for right now, a good shortcut, Control A, which is your screen stretch. Normally you can just hit the little nuclear button and it'll, like I said, this isn't really stretching it, it's just giving you a view. And when it's stretched, you can turn it on and off. If you hit Control A, same thing, you're just stretching it just to take a look at it. So the first thing we want to do, if you're going to use dynamic background extraction, you can use either automatic or dynamic. Let's see, for this one we'll just use automatic, and we're just going to drag this on here. Oops, didn't do anything, you know why? Because I didn't put anything in. Let's do subtraction. Bang, bang, bang. Now let's try it. Okay, this one was in pretty good shape in the first place, so probably didn't see a lot of difference there. So from here I want to do a little noise reduction. So I'm going to put a mask on it, and all I got to do is drag this over. Make sure that it's stretched, and open up the histogram. This one we're actually stretching the mask. So we just take our little arrow, drop it onto the histogram, and then hit enter. And it looks all blown out, but it's actually because it's stretched and now the SDS is fitting it. So there it is, real deal. Drag it over here and drop it. Okay, so we now have a mask on there. That's a layer mask. We want an inverted layer mask. Come over here, invert it. And I'm going to shut off showing it. I know I've got an inverted layer mask on there. So my regular deal for a little noise reduction, I've already got it set up on your screen there, Stephen. We're going to do multi-scale processing, multi-scale median transform. We're going to go to median wavelet and noise reduction. And I'm just going to punch in some numbers here. Let's go 4. Oops, come on. 3. Let me go 2. And let's go 1. And I'm going to turn these all down a little bit. It can get out of hand pretty quick. Again, this should be pretty much on your screen already. I'm going to use that and see what happens. We're on RGBK, and let's take a look. And I'm going to pause for a second while it does this little bit here. Okay, it ran through its little routine. We can take a look at it, see what it did. Not too much. You can play with it, play with these numbers. And say I didn't want to really overdo it. I can always do my final touches in Photoshop anyway, so this looks okay for now. At this point, I am going to remove the mask, which I can just hit remove, and I'm going to delete it because I'm not going to use that one again. Alright. At this point, I'm going to actually stretch it. So you turn off the STF by either, this is the best way right there, your little TV screen up there. I'm generally doing this manually when I stretch it. This is a real stretch. Reset it, hit the little arrow, that's going to show your peak. Here's a preview. And then just stretch this bad boy over here, hit OK. And we'll stretch her a couple times. And go about here. Okay, I don't want to overstretch it. Alright, so that's the real deal now. Now if you put a mask on it, you don't have to fuck around with stretching the mask. It's already, we're in the stretch state here now. At this point, a little more noise reduction. You can see I've still got some little black speckles in there. And again, it's easy to overdo shit, so you generally don't want to. In this setup, you don't need a mask. We're going to go down to noise reduction, ACD and R. This you can build your own mask with it. So lightness, going to hit a lightness mask. Chrominance, hit a lightness mask. Lightness, you don't really have to do a lot of cleanup. Here we're going after the background, which is chrominance, and we're going to jack that up a bit. So let's just see how that looks. Now you come down to your lightness mask, hit preview, and the preview button, and here's where you can build your mask. So look at something about like that, then uncheck it, otherwise shit gets weird. Okay, so we got our mask built, and let's go ahead and drop it on there. And I'll take another break. Okay, did its little deal, and you can see I still got some stuff in there. Oh, some of that's on my computer screen. Anyway, again, I tend not to overdo stuff here at this point. I can always clean it up better in Photoshop, but for now that's good. Okay, a couple more steps if you want to start bringing out some of your detail. Again, we're going to mask it. This time we're just going to have a layer mask, so no inversion. Now it defaulted since I already turned it off before. You don't see the mask. Again, you can say show mask or Control K. Now we've got the background masked and we're actually working on the object. And here's where you can start playing with some of your wavelets. Process, let's go down to multi-scale, HDR, multi-scale transform. And if you want to do things a little quicker on a small laptop, you can do previews up here. And a little white box here. You can come down here and hit a preview. Click on it, and then on the default, you're usually pretty close, either 4, 5, or 6. You can just pop this over here, and all you're working on is a preview. So you can kind of get an idea what it's doing to it. When you're doing previews, there's a back button up here that's different than this one. You don't want to fuck with this. Hit back. You can see. Let's try 5. And see that bringing in some detail. You can see there's before, there's after, before. So I'll leave that at that. And oops, shit. One of the nice things is if you shut something here, it remembers the settings you had. So I only worked on the preview there. So I'm going to delete it. And now do it to the entire picture. When you're working the entire picture, then your forward backward would be over here. And that one goes pretty quick. And you can see there's the after, there's the before. So you're working on getting some of the detail and the cloudiness. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Still masked. you say, it's easy to forget. And we still got a mask on there. Next process is going to be down to intensity transformations, local histogram, and you're going to be kind of working on the same area as far as bringing out detail in the clouds. And this one's a little bit more involved, so it takes a little bit of time. So again, I'm going to pop up a preview, and you can just take a look at this one. Actually has a preview to it, and you can kind of see what you're doing to it. This is easy to get a little too far out of hand. Generally bring this one down about halfway or so, and it's doing its little thinking thing up here. So let's take a look. We're just going to go ahead and drop this on the preview. You'll see this one, it went pretty quick. And again, forward backwards on the previews is up here. And you can see it bring that out a little bit. Okay, say you like it. Delete the preview. Let's go ahead and drop it on here. And I'm going to pause because this one will probably take a couple minutes. Alright, that's where I'm at so far. When you want to make your stars smaller, let's go ahead and kill our mask again. Yep. Okay, here's how you work on your stars. Get into deconvolution. You're going to have to work on watching some other videos on YouTube because I'm just learning how to do it. But come down to process, hit mask generation, and make a star mask. And generally your defaults are going to work. If you want to get bigger stars into the picture, you can hit up your scale or up your large scale. Generally defaults work. So I just dragged that over onto the picture. And what it's going to do is make a star mask for me. And I'll pause for a second. Okay, I just finished making my star mask. So I can take that and pop it over here, drop it on the edge. Anytime that turns brown, you got a mask on there. It's real easy to forget and real easy to screw stuff up. You can always show the mask and say if you think you're going to forget. But I've gotten fairly good at remembering. Go ahead and close that. Okay, so we've got a star mask on there. Let's go down to process, morphology. This is where you're going to mess with your stars. And you can just go with the defaults. And this is your mount slider. This is where you got to play with it. This is going to take like pretty much everything. But it'll give you a good idea. This one goes pretty quick. That wasn't too bad. Oh, that's why. Alright, never mind. You have to set this up differently. Let's go ahead and go back. I got this set up on my desktop already. Hit the little round button down here. Elements, you want about 7. Should have been my little round thing here. There we go. And let's try that now. So make sure you hit your little round button down here. This is going to be like how much it takes out of it. 7 minutes round. Alright, let's drop that on there. Yeah, you can see that dropped out quite a bit more there. And you can play with it. You can also play with your star mask. Like I said, if I'd really wanted to mess with these bigger stars, I could have jacked up the scale. To me, that's too much. I like to have some stars in there. So what I'll generally do is run this down about half. And let's take a look at that. Okay, I like that a little better. I don't like to completely wipe them out. Alright, all said and done. For now, remove the mask. I'm going to save it. And make sure this thing will put shit all over the place. So you always got to double check your path where it's going to save it. Because if you did a different picture yesterday, it's going to try and save it over there. I've lost more crap. Okay, this is the native format, IXSF. I'm not going to mess with that because I'm going to be going into Photoshop, and I'm just going to call it bubble. Oops. Let's call it bubble TIFF. And we're going to save it as a TIFF file. Say save. Don't ask anymore. It doesn't like using TIFFs. And I just go straight to 16-bit. Okay. There. So now we've got a 16-bit TIFF saved. Alright, I'm out of here again.